So we actually offer 3 refugee legal aid trainings per year in January, May or June, and September. And it's a 2-day training that covers refugee law. We work through case studies so that people understand the definition. We go over ethics in refugee law, including the Nairobi Code, as well as real-life case studies as to problems that you could face, ethical conflicts you could face in representing a refugee. Other topics have included also international human rights law, working with an interpreter, client sensitivities, testimony taking, writing a legal brief, and preparing a client for their refugee status determination interview. So with all new lawyers, we require them to attend our 2-day training before they're allowed to volunteer with us. And then after the 2-day training, I will send out an email to everyone who's participated and see who's interested in volunteering with us. And if they are interested in volunteering, we'll have mini trainings on the UNHCR process, which is also covered in our general training, but in more depth, one-on-one. And then also the internal HKRAC procedures. I'll also provide them with templates and sample legal briefs, testimonies, whatever it is that they're working on, so that they have the tools to represent a refugee. Fortunately for us, most of our volunteers, once they actually start doing the work, they're hooked. I mean, it is just the interaction that they have with the refugees themselves is enough to keep them motivated to come and continue their work with us. I think keeping a positive work environment, giving positive feedback, thanking the volunteer also for their time. It does seem obvious, but people appreciate that you are helping them out as well. They appreciate you acknowledging that they are helping your organization out. We also try to have ongoing trainings for the volunteers as well, so that they can build upon the skills that they are learning. Actually, we have social nights that, not just for casework volunteers, but for everybody who's volunteered with us or has any capacity, any sort of working capacity with the organization. And that just brings together everyone who's involved with HKRAC, whether it's in fundraising and development, the psychologists we refer to, the medical doctors we refer to, interpreters, volunteer caseworkers, lawyers. It brings them all together and gives them a chance to interact and talk to each other. And so I think that that's helpful as well. We've also turned some of our social nights into fundraisers as well. And I think that motivates people that they're drinking for a cause and giving back to the organization. In terms of the pro bono lawyers at law firms, I'll send out an email listing all the cases we need help with, including a summary and the relevant deadlines for the case. And then whoever responds first gets to do the case. In terms of monitoring the progress on the case, when a law firm has taken on a representation case, like a legal brief, I'll set out a deadline, a schedule of deadlines with them. What I usually do is launch off with a conference call with all the parties involved. Sometimes the law firms do the testimony themselves. Sometimes it's either an HKRAC staff or a volunteer doing the testimony. But we'll have all parties in the room launch off with a conference call so that we can identify what the issues are that need to be addressed for the brief and go forward from there. And then we'll also at that time discuss timeframes. So the person doing the testimony needs to get it to the law firm by this date. The law firm has 2 days to comment and get back to the testimony taker. The testimony taker needs to revise and finish it by 5 weeks. Then the law firm needs to send me a draft on this date, and I make sure that it's well before the actual deadline to UNHCR, so that we can monitor where the case is going at each point.